This has serious implications on who the Houston Rockets sign next to a two-way contract. As Summer League is officially at an end, we are going to detail how these players did during Summer League and who the Rockets should sign next to their two-way contract. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Rockets Digest. I'm your host, Donovan Ricondo, and as always, we appreciate you guys joining us. We have hit our 4,500 subscriber mark, so thank you all so much for going ahead and subscribing to this channel. And if you have yet to do so, go ahead and hit that button below if you want to stay up to date on all your Rockets content all off season. Now, we are here to talk about Summer League. It was not pretty for the Houston Rockets. Overall, going 1-4, only winning the last game against an undefeated Minnesota Timberwolves Summer League squad. But overall, not the best showing for our young guys over there in Las Vegas. Lost to the Clippers, lost to the Pistons, Hawks, Trailblazers, and of course, that win 3 days ago was not too bad to end our summer on. But as to recap, what is the timeline for the Houston Rockets? For Houston, Summer League players who are currently in line to participate at training camp include Shepard, who is on a standard NBA contract, center N'Faly Dante, who currently has a two-way qualifying offer, forward Kevon Harris, a two-way contract, and forward Cameron Matthews, who is on an Exhibit 10 training camp deal. Other players from Summer League could be added via similar Exhibit 10 deals if desired. And if you're wondering what the heck is an Exhibit 10 deal, that is a contract. It's a 1-year, non-guaranteed minimum salary contract that allows a team to bring in players for training camp and the preseason. These contracts offer a path to either a standard NBA roster spot or a two-way contract or potentially a bonus if a player joins the team's G League affiliate. So it's just a good way to, give players more opportunities to develop, to gain that experience, to eventually go onto the main roster. And so that is what we have, or could possibly put some guys on if need be, right? And as it stands, the Rockets have 3 two-way contracts to give out. One of them is given to Kevon Harris, who will break down in just a second how he did this past Summer League. And we currently have that two-way qualifying offer on the table for N'Faly Dante, who was in the G League last year, played fairly well in the G League as well. And so we're going to give a detailed breakdown of how he did this past Summer League. And if you've watched the games, you know where I'm going to go with this. But we currently have those two guys. So N'Faly Dante will probably accept that offer. So that would just leave one more two-way contract for the Rockets to give out to somebody who deserves it. And so I want to break down a little bit how each of these players did throughout Summer League. And the first and foremost, we got to start with Shepard. Shepard was the talk of the town heading into Summer League. He was a second-year player. He's already projected to gain a lot of playing time considering how this Houston Rockets roster is constructed, going to be the primary backup behind Fred VanVleet. And he played 2 games this Summer League. He had some calf soreness that, limited him in those games. I wasn't expecting him to play all of 5 of these games, but 2 games, you get a good gist of what Shepard was about to do. He went off for 28 points in that very first game, struggled a little bit shooting in that second game. He's 21 years old, coming out of Kentucky. He averaged 23 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 4.5 turnovers, which I'm not, too enthusiastic about. Of course, he's young. He's going to make these mistakes. He's still learning, developing his NBA game, but still something that he has to work on, being that kind of young player. His three-point shot, 31% isn't, the best considering that is what he's best at, but still, good to get some reps out there. Shepard did not play a lot last year, so to see him out there on the court and score that 28 points in that first game was very, very impressive. It was great to watch. It's good to see him get those minutes as we expect him to take himself to that next level next season. He's going to make mistakes, being that backup behind Fred VanVleet, and it's expected. GM Rafael Stone simply said he's just going to have to be good for us. He just has to be, because we're putting him in that spot, and really there's no one else to take over that spot besides Shepard. But hey, that is why you draft him, number 3 overall, right? Like that is what a number 3 overall pick should be. If not, it may be even a little more. So the pressure is on for Shepard. Hopefully everything is okay with his calf. I mean, it should be, as training camp does not start until around October, so there's plenty of time to heal up. But nevertheless, I'd say, okay summer for Reed Shepard. We'll see how he develops throughout the summer. Now, there's another guy I want to talk about who had a fantastic summer league. I absolutely fell in love with him, and me personally think we should offer this guy a two-way contract. Or it should be one of the primary options of those conversations. Chandler is a 6 foot tall, 171-pound guard from Tennessee with 1 year of NBA experience with the Memphis Grizzlies. He is 22 years old. He played on all 5 games in summer league, and he impressed me very, very much. 18.2 points, around 5 assists, 2.6 rebounds, 2.6 turnovers, which is not bad considering he played 30 minutes or averaged 30 minutes in these 5 games. 38% from field goal range, 28% from 3, which isn't too hot. I don't think anybody on these summer league teams, or our summer league team, shot very well from 3, considering the entire league. But Kennedy Chandler was a very impressive guard. It was fun to watch throughout summer league, and I do think he should be in those conversations, leading in that points category on the team, playing in all 5 games, playing 30 minutes a game. Very, very a good player that has a lot of potential to be, your third point guard on the team, right? Is to be that backup to Reed Shepard. And so when I see him, he is undersized a little bit, right? He rightfully so, but still someone who I think could be a very good addition to this roster on a two-way contract. He erupted for 22 points off the bench in Houston's first summer league game, jumping out to a hot start for the minicamp. He would then log 4 straight games with double-digit points and be the only other Rocket to log more than 1 game with 20-plus points in Vegas. So very, very impressive. I'm excited to see what he does and what he can do for this team next season. Or next, hopefully, if we sign him to that contract. There's also Adonis Arms, who we did a quick story on about a week ago now. Arms, who had a very fantastic 20-point game in one of those summer league games. He's 6'6", 205-pound guard, which is insane. He's an NBA rookie from Texas Tech, 27 years old. Per game averages, he played in 4 games this summer, 15 points on average, 4.3 rebounds, around 4 assists, 2 steals, limited turnovers in the 28 minutes that he played, which is very, very impressive. His stocks was 3.3, so that's very impressive as well, considering when you talk about the Houston Rockets, who are a heavily defense-focused team. And so that is very exciting when you see a guy like Arms, who is the epitome of what you want a player to be. Yes, there's still a development that needs to be had, especially with his three-point shot, although he did have 1 game where he did fairly well. But that is something that needs to be developed, bar none, hands none, right? Like, you have to get that worked on if you're Adonis Arms. But a lot of good positives to take from Adonis Arms, who should be another one of those conversations of an Exhibit 10 contract, or in that conversation of a two-way contract. Very, very, very impressive for that young man right there. Or not young man, he's older than me, but whatever. Regardless. And then there's also Kevon Harris, who played outstanding this summer league. 4 games played, 14.5 points on average, 5 rebounds, 3.3 assists, 6'6" guard from Stephen F. Austin. He has 2 previous years of NBA experience, so he's a little bit on the older side, 28 years old, but still provided some valuable minutes. We signed him recently from the G League, who's like the MVP of something down there. So he is a very good player who just needs the minutes to get things going, to find his rhythm and all that such. 44% from the field, which is not too bad. Again, the 3-pointers and the free throw percentage for a lot of these guys is not great. Something that's going to get better. Again, these are guys who are in discussions of two-way contracts or Exhibit 10 contracts. So they're not Michael Jordan or anything, but they are certainly positives to take from these guys in these things. And I want to get to N'Faly Dante, who I am very high on. I really do think he would be a good backup to have in the NBA. He is very traditional big, not so good at free throws, not so very good at 3-point shots. He's just a really big guy who can get things done down there in the paint. He comes from Oregon. He's got 1 year of NBA experience. He's very, very young, which I think is a huge upside for him. He has a lot of time to still develop. He's not like some of these other guys who are 27, 28. He's still very, very young. He played in 3 games this summer league, though, and he did not really have the impact that I thought he would, right? He didn't really do as much that I expected. 6.7 points, 3 rebounds, 1.7 blocks, 1.3 assists in 15 minutes. And, when you're 6'11" and you're getting 3 rebounds in 15 minutes, that's not, the most, eye-popping stats, right? Like, I understand he did not play very much in these games, and that's probably by design. But at the same time, I did expect a little bit more from Dante here, knowing what he can do in the G League and what he was able to do last season. It was very, very impressive, and I wish I saw a little bit more of that in Summer League. Unfortunately, that did not happen, but nevertheless, he still has that qualifying offer to be on one of our 2-way contracts next season, along with him and Kevon Harris. And so that is still on the table. So we fully expect him to take one of those contracts, leaving that one extra 2-way contract left out there for the Houston Rockets. But overall, that is essentially how the Rockets Summer League went. There's a lot of guys who impress. I think a guy like Kennedy Chandler, Adonis Arms did a really good job in saying, like, hey, I am worthy of being invested in it. I can develop. I can be that guy that you guys need, or whatever it may be, right? And so I do think Arms and Chandler are great guys to have, and I fully expect the Rockets to do at least something with them. They had a great summer league. They had a good summer league. They showed exactly what they needed, in my opinion, and I do think that is worth noting when it comes to signing players. Cameron Matthews from Mississippi State did not have a great summer league. He only had like 3 points per game, I believe, and so that is a little underwhelming in terms of that aspect. And considering we signed him recently to a little deal, but nevertheless, I want to hear from you guys, right? What players from this summer league squad do you want to see take that last 2-way contract? Who do you think? Do you think it should be Arms? Do you think it should be Cameron Matthews? I don't think so. Do you think it should be, Kennedy Chandler? Who do you think should take that last contract? Who would you like to see wear a Rockets uniform in the future? Who do you think has that prime example to be a guy that can help this main roster out throughout the regular season? Is it a roster that needs a lot of help? Probably not. This is a very strong roster that GM Rafael Stone has been able to construct all offseason long. But go ahead and let me know if there's any additions that you think Ime Udoka would love this guy. GM Rafael Stone would love this guy. Can't wait to see these guys play in that second rotation somehow, garbage time or whatever it may be. Let me know in the comments what you think, what players should be signed to that last 2-way contract for the Houston Rockets. Let me know in the comments, and we'll see you next time on another episode of Rockets Digest. Take care.